Hi, friends.
Hello, friends.
Welcome back to Friends of Disney. I'm Sean,
I'm Jonelle.
and today we're on yet another Zack and Cody episode.
Episode 16, you guys.
Yep, and this one's all about big hair and baseball.
I kind of wish I dyed my hair for this episode if I really could.
I wish I wore a wig of like an afro.
You know what would have been great for
What?
this episode?
Hmm.
If we recorded at a baseball game because it is almost baseball season for
It
us.
is baseball season. The Indians are already playing.
Dang.
Yeah.
Ah,
But anywho, no. So, okay. I have a lot of memories of this episode.
I had zero.
Like, when I read like the little description of like Mosby takes Zack and Cody to a baseball game, I was like, oh my god, it's this episode because I love Zack and Cody's like relationship with Mosby in this episode so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and as we've been watching through this like the series and stuff, like this season at least, this is the first episode they actually kind of bond a little bit. Like 16 episodes it took to get them to start bonding better. Like it was 15 episodes of hate.
I mean,
Rivalry, I should say.
do you really blame Mosby though?
Oh, not even the slightest bit. And I don't blame Zack and Cody either, considering he's Mr. Hotel Manager.
Your cat have a thing for yarn?
Yes.
Well, shit. Sorry, friends.
uh, but like, I don't know. I love how their relationship developed over this episode. And I love Mosby's character development at the baseball game. Like, okay, like there's two plots in this are that Maddie is like saying that like looks don't matter and London sets her up on a date and is like freaking out over her hair that frizzes in high humidity,
Okay,
which is
I
like
loved the date in this episode. It was
I was just gonna say that that is a very minor plot compared to the main plot of Mosby and the baseball game.
I mean, I loved the minor plot of this episode so much.
I really couldn't care about it that much. And this is coming from the guy's perspective. Like they focus solely on like Maddie and stuff on this, so it's not much on like the guy's side of it. So
See, I think this is where we can maybe find an agreement, but you know how Girl Meets World is kind of more targeted towards girls, but you can definitely watch it if you're a guy, but
oh yeah, I liked Girl Meets World.
yeah, you can definitely understand that it's more based off of
Well, something.
how there's shows catered to young women and how there's shows catered to young men, and then there's family shows.
So you're bringing up something for me that I honestly wasn't expecting us to get into, but you're bringing it on.
Oh,
Have you like I thought about this while you were saying this. Have you noticed that in a lot of TV shows on Disney Channel or just generally like the audience that Disney Channel goes for, that whole anything targeted towards that audience, age group and stuff,
hmm
anything surrounding dating typically is always on the girl's perspective of the date. And it bothers me. Like they put so much emphasis on what goes on in the girl's head about preparing for the date, the experience of the date, and it bothers me that they don't do a good job of the
representing the
experience.
guy's side.
Exactly.
I mean, I do appreciate the fact that in the B plot of this episode, it does represent some of the feelings that the guy does have. And because he goes to London and he's explaining, as she's
Mhm.
dabbing the sweat off of his forehead, how nervous he was.
Well, and I think it's an important test. Like, yes, there's that nervousness, but the thing in that's hard is so you hear it a lot nowadays about how they really want strong female representation in media as a role model for women. It's hard because men need that as well. And our generation never really focused on the guy's perspective. And it's like my dad never really had given me much guidance surrounding dates. And so, like, that whole thought process of like asking out the girl, you don't see that really, unless you just see it happening to the main character where it's like the hot guy asks her out to something, but you don't see any of the behind the scenes of that for the guy.
You know, I always kind of wondered that for a guy, because I mean, for a girl, like the general stereotype that girls have is that the guy is going to ask the girl out on the date.
I won't lie, I didn't know what to do because of the culture we grew up in. We can say it, dating's non-existent anymore.
It is, I can say this as it's now my reality of my relationship, but it's that one person you met on Tinder and you just happen to keep seeing them and then it became something.
Or you just text them in high school, you're like, hey, do you want to be my girlfriend over text?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
There's no dating. And I feel
I
like it's.
can't tell you how many times I had a relationship
Mhm.
because I did that. And like, those were never actual real
it,
relationships.
it's true. And
Like, you
there's
guys
a
were
lot.
just talking as friends.
Essentially, with while putting just this random label, and like, depending on who it was, like, if you were like friends at school or whatever, like, you would see them at school and the relationship would develop at that point. But I feel like at that point, you're missing so many important life lessons and social development of like getting up those nerves, getting through the awkward situations. Can you? And it's pretty much because of the culture we live in today. Like, I feel like it's becoming more and more that like pushing off these important social milestones.
Sean, I think you just gave me something I need to write in my therapy book real quick. Real quick. I am not joking. Okay, so okay, phone is right here. I'm gonna write this on the side because we have been getting into EMDR,
Mm-hmm.
and um essentially we're trying to backtrack into essentially my trauma and like reliving in that moment of psychological emotions, sensors, and things like that. Absolutely terrifying, you guys. It's something you have to be willing to face.
Yeah.
Um, but with Sean bringing that up, brought a key point into something I need to bring up next week.
But I'm going to keep talking a little bit while you're doing that cuz I I've told this to Megan, which if this is your first time listening or watching, she is our third host who's not with us because she's feeling really sick right now. Um, but I have I like going on dates, and I always wanted to be that person that would have been able to ask out the girl on a date. And I'm married now, and me and Megan will go on dates just fine and stuff. But it makes me sad that I never was able to get to that point of like asking a girl out on a date when I was in like high school or something. It was just never something that I had any guidance on through any male role, almost never showed up in media. It just happens to the female main character.
You know, I will say, like, there's a difference between like dating in your teens and dating in your 20s.
Yep. And to be fair, like we said last week with on our episode on a goofy movie, so much changes as an adult compared to expectations.
Gosh, I've had like I wish I could like go back and date as a kid, like have the true experience of dating.
I really wanted the true experience of like asking the girl out, prepping it, picking her up at like picking them up at at their house, meeting having that be to meet the parents, curfew. Like I actually really wanted that experience because that's what I knew the experience to be, and I'm like I want to have that level of like respect, you know?
My first boyfriend was the only one that I had that with, and like we would go to OMAC and we'd go on double dates with him and his brother and his brother's wife, but at the time was girlfriend. Um and we would go watch movies at the movie theater and then go to Arby's and then drive back home.
See,
And then we'd also like spend our time at the community center like playing basketball. Like it
hmm
was I loved dating during that time because it was fun.
well, and I think it's something that should it- that model of dating though of like asking the person out on a date, picking them at their house, curfew, the meeting of the parents at that time, especially if you're a teen meeting the parents at that time. I think it sets up an important foundation of respect,
Getting to know the person too.
getting to know, well, it's multiple layers because you're showing respect for the parents. And I know it's become controversial nowadays of like asking the parents for permission to date or whatever. If it's like you're
I
asking a
mean,
girl out, hold on, let me
we
finish.
snuck behind my parents' back and
Let
then they found out.
let me finish. The I'm personally and still a big proponent about it, and me and Megan have had conversations about it, and because when I said this, she went off on me. So let me finish when I say this. For me, especially now that like I have a son, I would expect the same for anyone to date my son because it has nothing to do in my mind about property, as a lot of people seem to insinuate. Like the girl is not property of the parents.
I made you so you can't date until I say so.
For me, the asking the permission from the parents is a I'm asking for your permission. I'm asking for you to trust me to take care of your child, who up to this point you have loved and cared for and have tried to protect. I'm asking for your permission for you to trust me to provide that in this moment.
Yeah.
And so, having like the traditional date where it's like you meet them, you're meeting the parents right then and there. That sets a foundation of respect to the parents and to the person you're going on a date with. And say like you also, and then typically there would be like a curfew if you're in your teens,
Mm.
in which case that doubles down on the respect of like you're showing them that you respect their time, that they that you them being the person you're going on a date with partner, like their
Mm.
parents or whatever, you're showing that they still have an important part of this relationship. And I think as you continue towards adulthood, it sets up an important like expectation because like you're an adult right now. Let's say you were to go out on
Dating
go
now
up,
sucks.
but let's say that this culture of dating still continued like it had been in the past.
Dude, I'd be so happy.
How would you feel if they're like, okay, I will pick you up at this time at your house? They come, they pick you up, they bring you back, they bring you back normal hour, and that's that. And they have that foundation of respect of like you have your life, it's fine.
See, and this is kind of where things differed in my 20s because like dating when you're an adult is much different. Most of the time it's you try and land a date and then you land a date and then often the guy wants sex. And
Yep. And just a disclaimer, this is not a podcast that is geared towards children. So if kids are watching this, then
just know that one word was said well that we are talking about dating.
well, and we're not marketing this towards kids.
Yeah,
This is not made for kids, so it's
because we are adults talking about our adult perspective on children's things.
with the influence of what we see in Disney
Yeah.
media. But
But
yeah,
essentially where I was going with this is like often when I was trying to land dates with guys, I did not want them to pick me up. First of all, because I still haven't met this person. Still don't trust him. But like I wanted it to be like we meet at a place like when you're dating in high school where you go and have fun. Like you go have dinner or you go to the bowling alley and you play a game.
well, that's the thing. The in a sense,
But
the
then the guy has the stigma after the date that because they bought you dinner or because they did whatever with you, that they deserve to have sex with you.
and I think that plays into dating culture changing because no one does it anymore. They don't have a foundation on which to grow. And when you look at adult dating, nowadays it's online. The traditional pickup doesn't work.
Dating
Or,
online isn't even dating. It's straight up just, hey, I'm lonely. I have
yeah,
condoms. Want to come over?
exactly. And like,
Which please don't do that. Like, m-
uh, like there is no like, oh, we met in a bar and stuff, exchange phone numbers, whatever, and
and
from
I
there.
love moment. Like, I've had some good dates in my 20s, and I've had some non
Mhm.
good dates.
But I feel like dating though is such an important part of relationships that is severe. It's almost its own pandemic of losing a very social culture. When you go on dates, it promotes social activities. It promotes getting into those uncomfortable situations and experiencing those emotions.
Of
But
what happens. You get to face embarrassment and you handle rejection a lot better because someone asks you out and you're like, no, I actually don't want to go out with you. Like, you're going to have to face the rejection of that.
do you would it be fair to say that these important social milestones lead to a lot more of social anxiety disorders because they're not exposed to it from a younger age, like middle and high school, where a lot of dating would typically pick up?
So, as a person who suffers from two personality disorders, I would say that is not what stemmed.
Not what's them, but is a participating factor.
I will say it is one of the reasons why, like, I have a hard time dating.
Mm-hmm.
And but like here's the thing, these shows like this where, you do have more traditional dates where it's like it's essentially an arranged date between both
The
parents.
blind date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my like every time I thought about dating, like that's kind of how I always thought about it. Was just like someone needs to ask me because they're interested in me. Like I definitely had that girl's perspective and it's just like also that like I had to shave every day. I hate that factor by the way. But like, you need to stay prepped and like always up and ready for whoever's gonna
Mm-hmm.
whisk their way into your life and take you off into fairyland. But
I think like, so have you seen much of the High School Musical movies?
I've seen like the first one and the second one and then bits and pieces with my cousins.
Have you seen much of the third one?
Isn't that the one at the golf course?
No, that's the second one.
Oh.
The third one has prom, and it's like their senior year.
Oh.
Well,
Okay, I didn't watch much of the third.
there's this one song in it called "The Night of Nights," and it shows the guys' side of it and the girls' side of it, and it's like this lead up to the prom of like guys being like, "What am I gonna wear? What the hell's a corsage?" All of this, and then like the girls getting ready as well, and like I really liked that scene because it, in a very goofy, playful way, still kind of
Shows what
still
happens.
showed a little bit more on like the guy's side. Because if it was me, for example, if I had to do that, I would be thinking about so many factors of like, does she feel safe? Am I making her uncomfortable? Am I appearing okay? Like, guys think about appearance too, not on the same level, but like I would want to look nice,
Yeah.
not full tux, nice, but like collared shirt maybe or like
Like
a button shirt.
casual, like blue jeans and like
Mhm.
a clean shirt. Like
Yeah,
this shirt is actually clean, guys. You didn't just pull it out of whatever.
yeah. Or if it's like a sit down dinner, like have a actual jacket, not hoodie or
Yeah.
sweatshirt.
Like something with clean edges, but that's still casual. Like a nice light
Sports jacket.
oh no, I was thinking more of like a nice jacket that has like it's like
Yeah,
soft material though.
yeah. It's a sports jacket.
Well, not a sports jacket, but like it looks like for an English person, where it has the
Yes, it's a sports jacket.
Okay, well,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Trust me. But
but oh, sorry, I was just gonna like try and finish up the thought of like how personality disorders kind of like
mhm.
affect the dating scene. Um,
Or vice versa.
but like I will say, as a person with a personality disorder, I have a lot less trust in you.
Well,
And what's worse is like I one of them is avoidant personality, which is horrible because if I already sense that I'm going to get like any sense of rejection, and this happened a lot while dating, was just like if I knew they were going to say something I didn't like, I blocked them.
mhm,
And it would also go into like I still have a hard time like telling people no
mhm,
even though I'm in a relationship now.
yeah,
Trust me, I'm very faithful to my boyfriend, but like I get messages from people who I used to be with in the past and they still message me.
mhm.
And I just have a hard time saying, hey, please respect my relationship. Instead, I'm just kind of like, that's cool, you want to do that, but I'm not doing that.
Well, and commenting on what you said earlier about like you don't want people like picking you up at your place, and it completely makes sense. Like a lot of stuff is online nowadays. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know? But like, can you imagine if you had met someone, like say like we went bowling or whatever, and some guy wanted to pick you up, you liked him, whatever, exchanged phone numbers, talked and stuff, maybe spent a little bit of time together just hanging out, and they were to ask you formally on a date, you would have more trust in that,
Yeah.
right? So it comes to that point of technology is not helping the dating scene, and it's not helping our exposure to those feelings and such as growing up.
And okay, me and Sean are really good friends, guys. We've recently been like bringing back up interpersonal communications and
Okay.
how
It doesn't help. I'm also taking a lifespan psychology class, so I'm like
no,
all on development right now.
but like dating right now sucks because when you are talking through your phone is a natural barrier because you can't see that person's reaction while they're typing. Like,
You're missing out so many like communication cues, like tone,
mm-hmm.
um, how just their overall like cadence of talking.
People like when I'm texting, I definitely text through like my tone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad you can understand this, but it's so hard in the professional world
Mm-hmm.
because I have to sit there and like actually redetail all of everything that I just wrote out because of my tone, because otherwise it sounds like I'm very demanding.
I've had to get to a point where I've had to start if I'm like sending a more passionate email where I'm a little fired up, I have to send it to my manager first before I actually fully send it because I'm like, I don't want to say the wrong thing here.
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
can you proofread before I send this out, please?
Guys, corporate emails are no joke. Like,
Um,
and then there's like levels to it too. There's a hierarchy.
mhm.
So I work in an area where I work the CFO, their office is like in view of where my cubicle is. And, we're a medium sized company. So knowing the CFO personally, in the work culture is pretty normal. But like when you talk to people who are high up in the business world,
I know.
speaking of my funny scenario today,
Well, I know what you're about to say. I can relate to because I've had a lot of interactions with the higher ups of our hospital, like our
they
chief.
want things quick, sharp, and to the point. They don't want the in between. And so you just have to really think about how you're talking and the perception of how you want to talk to them and what they want to hear is you really want to cater to them. You're
And
not
no
catering to
emotion.
your own.
And
Yeah.
no emotion.
Also, if my professor watches this podcast, I am deeply sorry for flipping you off on the road. Um, little
um,
backstory, friends. I was on my way here and I'm pretty sure it's my professor's car. Uh, but they started merging into my lane and we're going downhill on this road and it starts to curve because we were on Nevada. And so Nevada, when it goes down the hill and
mhm.
curves, Anyways, his car started going into my lane, so I honked and naturally flipped him off. So please have mercy on me. I know I missed a few of your I know I missed the first class, okay, and I'm deeply sorry about that. And I am so grateful for all the times you have let me cried in your office. Okay, that is all. That's my testimony to my professor right now.
um, but going back to like Maddie's date, which London set up for her.
I love how we wanted to talk about the baseball game and this
I
ended
know.
up
That's the thing. Like I said earlier, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but you brought all this up now.
sorry.
Um, but I find it interesting that this date came out of like London and Carrie were both like, oh, I want to spend some time with like the Yankee baseball players, and like Maddie's like, who here actually thinks that looks actually matter? And Carrie and London are both like, we do. And Maddie's like, well, I think all of these things matter like more. And London's like, oh, then I know have the perfect guy for you if you think looks don't matter. And I'm like, she's gonna set him up with like some random nerd or whatever. And the guy was perfectly like normal. I'm like, I was not expecting London to just pull out a normal guy. I thought she was gonna try and like
And the fact
screw
that
Maddie a
London
little.
was just like, and he has a lot of blackheads.
Oy vey.
Do, do, do,
Oh my god.
do,
I got this new clock back there for like $10 at Value Village, and me and Jonelle
do.
both get like these nostalgic happy feelings whenever the chime goes off.
Oh wait, it's not the hour yet. Okay, so except I need to have one that's my grandmother's where it
Does
like
the hourly. It
yeah.
depends on the speaker itself. It's not a clock thing, it's the it's whatever speaker is in the clock. Because I could change that and get
Yeah.
it. But
But I
and
need to get it, you guys, because the nostalgic of this little clock right now is giving me life.
so do you have anything more on the dating topic at all?
I think we can finally switch over to the baseball game.
So the baseball game.
Whisk away, my friend.
Well, so the baseball game, for those who are not sports activists or know a lot of sports because their family's involved in sports, whatever, it's a Yankees versus Red Sox game. And the Yankees and the Red Sox don't get along at all. They are like very, very clear rivals. And the Yankees are staying at the Tipton and stuff. And this is where the episode starts. And Zack and Cody are like, boo, go back to New York. We don't like you. And one of the Yankee players offers them 3 tickets to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Carrie's planning like the spa day for like the girls and stuff and like helping Maddie get ready for her date and ends up begging Mr. Mosby to take the boys, which of course Mosby doesn't want to do. But I love that like Mosby did so much to prepare for the game and like actually try to make it like a good experience for Zack and Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, like what are your thoughts on like their relationship and with the baseball game?
I just thought it was cute. I mean, honestly, like, I'm not the biggest baseball fan.
Neither am I, but we had a good time at that baseball game.
Yeah, we did. You know, the only thing I really like about baseball games is the hot dogs. And that's so weird,
To be
but
fair, it's like the most cliche like baseball food.
yeah,
Like
there's just something about the soggy bun around your dog.
that's why I go to Costco. A good
Dude,
Costco.
Costco hot dogs slap. I wish they got the Polish back.
Hmm. Anyway, like I find it so funny that like Mosby was like the people around where they were sitting were like hardcore making fun of Mosby. But like by the seventh inning, or no, seventh inning was when it was still cringy.
When
Like
he caught the ball, everyone was
right before he caught the ball, like I love he had like the whole hat with the sodas and the straw.
oh my gosh. I
Like
always wish I had one of those hats.
I didn't have a hat like that, but I had these like glasses I could
Oh
put
my gosh,
on.
I remember those
I put like
glasses.
one tube in the drink, and I drink out of the other tube, and it like goes around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely remember that. And then like My class was like really obsessed with adult binkies that lit up.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No.
This is where the generation of littles come from. I'm really showing we are not a kids podcast today.
But like, have you had any experiences
I'm sorry, ma'am.
going to like sporting events where like you were met with like
Hockey game.
don't give me you have
We love hockey games.
I love hockey games. I hate the hockey team that's in Spokane. And I know I'm saying that as they're going to like the championship game for the cup right now, and I want them to lose.
See, here's the thing is like baseball's cool and all, but I don't want to sit out in the hot sun.
Yeah, but I also like
Part of this is just I can't handle heat very well. Second part of this is I'm now on medication where I'm not really supposed to be out in the sun that much.
ooh, ramp. See like
So I'm trying to be a vampire.
See, so I remember I've so I really support like our hockey team from where I grew up. And their main rivals is in Seattle and stuff. But I remember I got to go to a hockey game here in Spokane where the teams were going against each other because they're in the same league. And oh my god, Spokane fans are awful. Like
Wenatchee just sucks.
Spokane fans are awful. Like we like a big thing in our culture for our team for my favorite team is cowbells. Like
Yeah.
we love ringing cowbells. Spokane, you ring a cowbell, they throw fits. They
Yeah.
get so angry.
It is so true. I love the cowbells.
Right?
It's so fun.
Thank you. Like it's
Meanwhile, the Spokane Chiefs just go Chiefs.
we don't do that for ours. See, for us, like they'll go through this thing of like the usual like yeah. They do that and like you hear this bear roar because it's the Everett Silvertips and their mascot is a bear.
Mm.
But the person will go like the announcer will like go through like this makes some noise for this person who made the goal, assisted by this person, assisted by this person. And then he'll go, woohoo! And the whole crowd, woohoo! And then they'll go, the Bears. And the whole crowd, the Bears.
That is so cute. Oh my god.
It's so funny.
I absolutely I love that. Meanwhile, Spokane is just like shame, shame,
Oh,
shame.
you want to know how great this is? We have a ritual when so if
Okay, who
so
comes up with these? I want to know what job
so
creates
so,
these.
so get this, okay? So when a player on like the opposing team gets into the penalty box,
Mm-hmm.
everyone like is obviously cheering and stuff. When they come back, the announcer will be like, the Spokane Chiefs are back at full strength. And the whole crowd in unison will go, and they still suck. It's so great.
Guys, hockey games, like, seriously, like,
It's so cathartic.
it's so fun. You watch fights, they're hilarious.
Well, and like, so back on the
It's
cowbells,
cold, so you can bundle up in whatever's warm.
back on the cowbells really quick. Something that's really cool,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see it a lot if you were to go to like an Everett game, like at home, is like they'll have free cowbell nights. And like these season ticket holders that have been like fans forever, they will have a homemade bell tree where it's like a giant stick with all their cowbells like
That's
bolted to it, and they'll just sit there banging the stick and all their cowbells ringing. It is the coolest thing.
so cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's
Okay,
really
we need to go to an Everett game now.
it's really funny because Seattle actually bans cowbells, and they're the main rival of Everett. They banned our cowbells. Like straight up banned, not allowed.
Okay, we need to go to an Everett game now and take a day off from work and just go to a game.
There would have been if Everett were to won their last game in the playoffs. They would have come to Spokane for games, but now they're out of
I
the.
know, I'm talking about going to their home game.
Oh, I'm all for going there to their home game. That's my home sit. Are you kidding? Yeah, I'll definitely do it.
Hey, someone can watch the baby. Yes, we're doing this. This is planned, you guys. We
This will
have
be next.
plans.
This will be next year. You know that, right?
Yes, I know, but me and Sean have plans. Megan, be warned.
So I find it really interesting looking at sports again because Mr. Mosby, like you saw all these people reacting to him not being a baseball fan, and they were just like, "That's un-American." And I find it funny because I don't know. What do you think is louder, baseball or football in American culture?
Football.
But the thing is,
Soccer's bringing up a new trend, though.
eh, I feel like when it comes so like there's the three main sports of the US is baseball, football, and basketball. I feel like baseball arguably is more of a sport that should be more defining of America because football for America gets a bad rap because you have European football, aka soccer,
Yeah.
and then you have basketball, which I feel like is more important on a college level because you have things like March Madness and things like that. So no one, I don't feel like, at least in my experience, no one really pays attention to the NBA.
See, I know a lot of people who pay attention to the NBA, but this is also like people who play, they're gamers and they also play, like, these are the people who
Hmm.
play, like, spend money on, like, Mad, or, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but but then you see like when you look at baseball and their fans, it has a lot more.
Family.
I was gonna say class, but yeah, like it's a lot more of like a community around it. Like hell, we even went when we went to the Indians game, Spokane Indians game last year.
Speaking of which, we're about to have some Indian tickets come up again for work.
But like it was a great experience. Like it's enjoyable. It doesn't take a scientist to figure out how the game works. The game is continuous, unlike football where they only play for like 5 seconds at a time and it's a 4 hour freaking game. Like the game doesn't really stop in baseball. You stay engaged. They have like the mascots, the experience with the food. Like
There's something there for everyone.
it's yeah, there's always something there for everyone, and you just always, even if you're not a baseball fan, you can somehow end up finding yourself enjoying it.
Yeah.
Whereas football, you can get easily bored, and basketball
The women only like football because of the commercials at the Super Bowl.
or Taylor Swift's now.
Yeah. Taylor Swift is the only thing bringing the NFL more money. Um, Travis and Tay Tay have to win.
I once made someone at work had like this like Kansas City like clock thing, and I was like, "Hey, Taylor Swift's boyfriend," and she just gave me this look of like, "Really?" And I'm like, "I had to do it to you," but but no, it was real. It was knowing that like that culture around baseball
Mm-hmm.
and like seeing how even Mr. Mosby was able to like eh,
Capture the essence.
capture the essence and really get involved in it. Like he learned and got into it.
There is one thing in that episode that I'm like, I wish they kind of brought back more at stadiums again. And it's the having that, like, the peanuts guy, the popcorn guy, walk down the aisle with the food. Because
Mhm.
that doesn't happen as much anymore. It happens at
No.
entertainment shows with
Yeah.
licensed merchandise, and then they
Mhm.
charge you like $50 at the spot. But
Yeah, like
like cheap food, quick bucks, you don't have to leave the
it's
seat.
it's one of those things where it's about the experience. You know, you don't do the things necessarily because they're efficient or even necessarily a good money maker or whatever. That's not what drives these a lot of decisions. It should be a lot of stuff like that. It's the experience. The hey peanut guy, give me some peanuts. Trying to catch their attention
But at the
and
same
everything.
time, like those should be cheap.
They should be, yes.
But given, oh my gosh, sorry, going off a side topic here, but like this brings back to like the entertainment experience. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, Brokechella has been trending on TikTok. And I find this really interesting because I was watching a YouTuber and I don't remember her name, but if you happen to come across her video, please like. Um, but she was giving on credit of like talking about the average American and how many use Affirm and Afterpay and Klarna and things like that to pay for their Coachella experiences, their camping experiences, and a lot of like youth is going to festivals. I mean, I go to festivals too, but
Hmm.
um they're paying with these methods that leave them further in debt. And so they were going on to like how 60% of Americans were using Afterpay systems for just basic meals too. And the festivals at Coachella were charging like $30 per meal. And then like the camping sites and everything were like uncleanly. Like the experience was not worth what you paid at all.
And I feel like it's sad when you see things like that going on. Like working in healthcare, it's tough. Like I'm going to use my healthcare experience to talk about this because, I remember back when I was in training for my job, one thing I remember hearing was like, you want to provide the best, like it was in terms of hospice patients, so patients that are dying or whether it's expected or unexpected. Um, you want no matter what they're going through, a patient and family are going through a crappy time, and a lot of times, like families will never look at that hospital the same. No matter how expected or whatever, they're gonna view the hospital or wherever the patient's at as that's where that person died.
Died.
And so it's always going to be bad, but we need to focus on creating as much of a positive experience as possible. Like, even though it sucks, making sure they feel supported, things, and making sure that they feel at least feel taken care of. To where even in this bad situation, they can still view their overall experience in a they did right by us type thing.
And especially in an area where we live, like there's not very many like big hospitals to go to for situations like that.
You have two big hospitals and then two like smaller neighborhood hospitals, basically.
Yeah. And so when it comes to end of life care and people heading to these major hospitals for end of life care, you know, based off of that experience, they're like, okay, well, the non religious one, didn't shove their beliefs down my atheist grandma's, whatever, while she died. So I'm going to go to the other one.
Yeah.
It's things like that.
Yeah, and you know, bringing this back towards like the entertainment industry, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I want to have a good time at the game, or or the match, whatever. But if I go to a baseball game and the staff is rude, I can't get anything to eat and stuff, that's gonna ruin the experience. Why would I want to go again? Like, I enjoyed the game, sure, but I can watch that on TV.
Yeah.
You know, why would I if I were to go see a Mariners game and it was terrible on every front, traffic, parking on every other front, merchandise, everything was expensive, it was dirty, like not enough access to food, bathrooms where didn't have adequate access. Why would I go to that again to see that baseball game when I can watch it on TV if you're not going to make the experience worthwhile?
See, and now And like in a month, I'm gonna be going to Post Malone's concert.
Mm-hmm.
I am so excited. Like he blew me away at the first one I went to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think this is just because I platonically love this man. And by that, I mean like pure friendship. Love this man.
Yeah.
I would drink with him. He's a cool dude. He respects women and you know, he's a very heartfelt person. Besides that point, he shows that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like he shows as weird as he is and all his tattoos, he shows his love.
And I know you're not a fan, but a lot of fans of Taylor Swift attribute her to the same things about how much she truly cares about her fans.
See,
And
I just
and I know you're not a fan, but it's a lot of
see,
the
Post
same stuff.
Malone has just like he's gone through a lot of the things that I've personally dealt with in my life, and
Hmm.
he's a lot more relatable to me than Taylor Swift and her boyfriend problems. I mean, I've had a lot of boyfriend problems, but
But that also goes to, people like different singers for different, like you relate to Post Malone and a lot of people relate to Taylor Swift.
yeah.
And that's okay.
And I'm just like, Posty builds a soft spot in my heart, especially with his daughter. Oh my gosh, that is so.
But
I'm gonna cry over Post Malone,
anyways,
guys.
before you cry on Post Malone, I mean, I personally don't think we have anything more to talk about.
I mean, other than going on a quick drive and hanging out, but
Other than I love Muriel. Muriel is my all-time favorite in Zack and Cody. She's my favorite character. I loved her in this episode. But anywho, I think we're all set here.
friends, we're gonna wrap it up for the night, and
Yep.
we'll see you next time.
Yep. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all the things, and check us out on Insta. Bye, friends.
Bye.